Hey, everybody! Welcome to our awesome Semrush API tutorial. I'm going to teach you how to build a quick little node.js app that is going to use a really cool competitor research API coming out of Semrush. And then we're going to write the results of that API call up into Google BigQuery. It's a pretty simple application. It's like a hello world type of app. But the cool thing about it is that it sort of can chart the road for you to learn how to do things like using this particular API call to get your competitors to write the results up into BigQuery. You can then use that list of competitors and use another API call down the road to go get all of their keywords. You could then compare that big list of keywords to your keywords from your domain to find gaps so that you can then think about what content that you need to build. And that'll drive your content decisions, which will then help you build and promote your content, get tons of traffic, and yay, boat drinks. Okay, so this repo has got a cool little README. It'll give you all the steps of what you need to do to get rolling. So step number one, you need to download and install a piece of software called Visual Studio Code. It's free, it's awesome, it's my favorite code editor. When you click this link, it's going to take you to the VS Code download screen. You'll download it for Mac, for Windows, for Linux, whatever, and install the code. After you install the code, you're going to switch over into VS Code. After you download and install VS Code on your computer, you're going to switch over into code. You're going to switch over into code and open it up. And we're going to go File, and we're going to say Open. And this is when we're going to create our parent folder. I always like to put all of my coding projects inside a folder called GitHub. Do whatever works for you. You can put it on your desktop, in your documents, whatever. So I'm going to hit New Folder, and I'm going to name it Semrush and spell it properly, and hit Create. And then inside, and now that that folder is selected, I'm going to hit Open. And we're going to notice that this is the beginning of us creating our coding environment. From here, we're going to create a brand new JavaScript file called index.js. It's empty, and we're going to hit Enter. We're then going to switch back over to our Chrome. And what we need to do then is find our gist file or gist file that has all of our code for this application. And we're just going to hit Control A, Control C, or Command A, Command C on a Mac to select all and copy. We're then going to come back to our index.js file and save it. Control S or Command S on a Mac. And then we're going to switch back over to our instructions. Now that we've done our step one, which is to set up VS Code, we've also started to create our local environment. We created a new folder called Semrush. We opened it. We put a new file. We then pasted the contents. This is awesome. Now we get to open up our terminal. And watch this little move here. I'm going to do something fun so I can switch back and forth a little bit easier. Cool. So next thing that I want to do, we can see down below I've got my window is split into two screens. If I go from output to terminal, I can then run commands inside my application. If this little tab isn't open for you, you can hit Terminal, New Terminal. And then going back to my instructions, let's see, I've opened terminal. Next, it's telling me to type npm init. And what this is doing is it's installing Node Package Manager for our application. And this is necessary in order to add some node packages that are going to help our script run. You're going to have a whole series of prompts. Just hit enter all the way through. And then switching back to our directions, we're going to go to step 5, and we're going to copy this bit of information. Hit copy, and we're going to come back here, and we're going to hit paste and enter, and it's going to install a variety of packages. One is file system, the other is Axios, which is what's actually making the request to Semrush's API, fs-nd.json, which is going to save those results in the proper format to write it up into Google BigQuery, and then some packages for Google. One is their APIs package, and then the second is the BigQuery package. Okay, so we've just done step 5. Now what we need to do is to create a Google Cloud project. If you don't know how to do this already, I've included a link for directions. I'm going to show you how to do it. It's pretty easy. We go up into our Google Cloud project and we go to Cloud Resource Manager. You can also go to any of the home screens and you'll see this like project picker here. And I'm going to hit this arrow and I'm going to hit New Project. And I'm going to name it Semrush Tutorial. And I'm going to hit Create. And it's creating my project up here. And in a minute, when it's done creating that project, I'm going to be able to select it. And now that it's open, I can see over in this project info section that there's something that says project ID. I'm going to copy that project ID and I'm going to come over into my script and I'm going to replace it on line 10 where it says const project ID. Next, I need to go over into my cloud project and I need to find BigQuery in this list. I like to pin things that I use all the time at the top. You'll notice if I hover over any of these different rows, I can hit the pin and it'll save it up here. To find BigQuery in your list, you're going to scroll most of the way down and you'll see BigQuery. Probably going to want to pin it. So I'm opening BigQuery up. And what we're going to see are the projects that we've created over here. And the one that we are going to be using is this Semrush 324317. That's the same thing that's over that I just copied in here. Woo, whoops, almost made a mistake. Semrush tutorial 32417. I then am going to create a data set here by clicking on these 3 dots, create data set. Guess what I'm going to name it? Semrush, woohoo! Which is awesome. I've just made the data set. I'm going to swing back to my directions because I've just made step 7. Now in step 8, we need to create a Google service account. I've got a whole bunch of steps here. I'm going to walk you through it though. We're going to go over here into our hamburger menu and we're going to hover over IAM and admin, go to service accounts, and I'm going to make a new one. And this is really exciting. We go robot or whatever you want to name it. Click create and continue. And now we need to give it permissions. And we need to give it permissions in order to run different pieces of functionality inside our Google Cloud project. And we're going to restrict those permissions to only do stuff with BigQuery. And I'm going to type in, and you can see how the autocomplete works down below, but you just really need to type in big, and then you'll probably see BigQuery admin, which is the role that we want to give to that service account. Click continue, click done. We need to create what's called a key file. And we're going to pull that into our folder on our computer. And I'll show you how to do that. We go hit the three dots, hit manage keys. We're then going to hit add key, create new key, and hit create. So now that I've created that new key, I can see that it's here. You can also find it in your downloads folder. And basically what I like to do if I'm in Chrome is I can grab that file from here and drag it into VS Code, and it'll pull it right in for me, which is really handy. That works on a Mac. I don't know if it works on a PC. You could also go find that file on your computer and move it into your brand newly created Semrush folder. We then need to rename this file. And what we're going to do is select it and then hit rename, and we're going to name it creds.json, which stands for credentials. We then come back over to our script. We're going to hit save. We're going to go back and look at our directions to see how we're doing. Okay, so we've done step 8. Step 9, we need to change the domain. And I don't want to get the competitors for Semrush. I want to know what the competitors are for CNN.com. And then down below that it says let limit equals 3. What that means is that we're going to get the top 3 competitors for CNN.com. And we can see here what the cost per row is. So if I'm getting 3 rows of data, it's going to cost me about 0.15 cents. So if I instead want to get the top 30 competitors for CNN.com, instead of 5, it's going to, instead of 3, we're going to find that it costs a little bit more. So instead of this, I think we're going to find that it's closer to a penny. It's not going to cost a lot, but it's going to be not that expensive, which is awesome. Okay, so the next step that we're going to do, to go back to our directions first section, we already did our step 9. We need to go get our Semrush API key. And this is critical because this key is what's necessary for us to make API calls. No key, no data returned. So I click this link. If I'm already logged into my Semrush account, it'll take me right to the right page. I hit copy to copy the API key. I come back to my script and I replace my API key, which is on line 23. I save the file. We then go back to our instructions, and this is the exciting part. Right away we're ready to roll. So right now I can go node space index.js and hit enter. And what's going to happen here is that my application is going to make a request of the Semrush API to grab the top 30 competitors for this domain, and it's going to write the results up into Google BigQuery. All right, let's go. Boom! We grabbed all the data. We wrote it up into BigQuery. Oh, so exciting. So then if I go back over here, I go back into my Google Cloud project, I can then go into BigQuery. I can find my project and hit the down arrow. I can then see my data set that I just made, and inside the data set is my table with my domain's competitors. I can then see preview, and boom! I got my top 30 competitors for CNN.com. And here's the interesting information. I can see how relevant each competitor is based on CNN.com. I can see how many keywords they have in common, how many organic keywords they have, what their organic traffic is, how much it would cost to replace that organic traffic with paid, how many AdWords the site has, how many keywords they're doing in AdWords, and also the date that I ran the report. And that's going to be really useful if I run competitor reports on a routine basis, because then I can track changes over time. This has been a total hoot. I really want to thank the Semrush team for letting me do this tutorial, and I hope that you found it useful. If you have questions, you can hit me up on Twitter. My handle is Noah Lerner, NOAHLEARNER. Happy automating, have fun, and talk soon. Bye.